Should be live. Good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Office Hours Live from Nashville. This is MMS 2025. I'm Johan, Andrew. We will be your host for the next hour and 45 minutes here, but this is something we typically do on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday at 4:30 p.m. Central Time, we run office hours. We spend a couple of minutes, 10, 15, 20, sharing news from the week, and then we open up for Q&A and answer any questions that simple might come by. And today we have a guest runner in the audience. It's Mr. Michael Nystrom, who is running the microphone. So please raise your hand if you have any questions when the time comes, and he'll be happy to either answer it for you or bring the microphone to you. The other way around, right? For microphone first and then answer.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, that's it. All right. So with that being said, do you have a couple of news to share? Unless you want to start, sir.
No, please, go ahead.
Give me just a moment. I'm going to go ahead and get that one over to a different screen. And then if you can, that one is it mine or yours showing?
Mine. Do you want yours up?
Yep.
Okay. Let's go like that. There we go.
Thank you. And thank you. And then I need to make sure to share this one on the stream also.
Yes.
Slightly easier when you are sitting at home, you have multiple monitors, or which one is a big 4K one, but we'll make this work.
A lot less audio complications when we're at home too.
Yes. But this should actually show up in the stream now.
There we go.
Beautiful. All right. So this is what everybody else out there see. You obviously see my screen over here. So let me flip over to that one.
I can also full screen this and throw mine up there.
You smart.
Every once in a while. Every once in a while. I have my moments.
You have your moments. That was not one of my moments. What did I do that for?
There we go.
Still looking good?
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of weeks back, Microsoft released Windows 11 25 H2. I don't think anybody missed that. But what they also released on this web page was the link to the group policy changes. If anyone tried to download that document, you pretty quickly learned that it was protected with information rights, so nobody could open it. I got a confirmation from ARIA that they actually fixed it. So these days, if you go to that link and go ahead and download it, you will be able to actually see the link or see the policies that were changed. So I just want to point that one out. Very similar to other policy template Excel spreads that have been releasing, but long story short, you can filter what's new in each version and you can see it from there.
Did you find anything exciting in there yet? I figured you had
many things.
You don't have this whole list memorized yet?
No.
Oh my goodness.
I was so happy I could just download it. All right. So that was the first update. The second one. Come on. What are you doing? We stumbled across a video from community friend here. App download failments, or rather unzipping downloaded content failures. If you stumble across them, this 4-minute video has the reason and the fix for it, but I thought it was valuable to share if you ever see it. Then
Looks like you've been giving some demos this week.
Once or twice. Then community friend Peter van der Woude released a new blog post regarding removing pre-installed Microsoft Store apps using native functionality. We can discuss whether this is a true removal or more of a block, but this is the policy available in 25H2. Was available in the insider preview for a bit, but now it's in the release itself. So just want to share this one out there as well. Richard Hicks posted around where to find certificate templates for Cloud PKI in Intune, and this is a trick one because there aren't any. So he just pointed that one out. For those of you how to manage, duplicate the templates in certificate authority and whatnot, doesn't really exist in its platform, at least not yet. So he provided some background information to that, so I thought that was valuable. And then, of course, we had a pretty dang good video on setting up proper security template. So we're going to share that link as well, together with our link under YouTube or the descriptions. And then we have this young, distinguished gentleman, close friend of mine.
That's me.
Over the years, Andrew has been updating the MMS Dowloading content script. So it will snatch every sample of spreadsheet and whatnot, PowerPoint presentation that is uploaded. And not many people know this, but very frequently, not for every single one, but close, after about a month, this content is available publicly. So if you use this script, you can actually download material from older MMSs. Mm-hmm. It's only the first month where it's protected to the ones that are in the session or sign up for the conference. So there is I forgot what the suite was called, but it was like a public something.
Yeah, basically we track which years are available publicly, which are available privately, and try to update that every time. I don't think that I made the May sessions available as public yet on there, but that is a note, homework for myself. Yep.
Because there are some really, even older MMSs, some of the content is downright amazing.
Yeah.
So highly recommend. Thumbs up there from Gary. All right. Awesome. If my microphone is on? Yeah, just on. Ready to fill in.
That will do it.
How about now?
There we go.
Did it just start or has it been down all the way? Dang it. All right. See. Start over. No, we're not going to start over. Thank you, though. Appreciate it. And then community fellow Rudy Ohms, unnecessarily clever gentleman. Rocket scientist, I'm sure of it.
Seriously.
Yeah. He often dives well behind the scenes trying to figure out what's really going on in the various Intune and autopilot and other stuff. I think he lives with the debugger window open at all time, looking at things, DLLs and whatnot. But he wrote a remarkable good blog post about what's really happening or how the sync in Intune really works, because it's not just every 8 hours. There are other events kicking in to trigger syncs as well. So this is a really good read that I want to share. So those were the news that I had for this week. And that, what the heck? Yeah, those were the news I had for this week, and that means Q&A time.
Yes.
Yeah. So what
time.
questions can we answer to you? And we have some pretty clever people in this room as well. Probably gonna harass, ask Gary nicely if there's a question he can answer. We have Niehaus here on the front row, and we'll be happy to answer as well.
It's almost like we have backup.
We have backup.
That's awesome.
They didn't know it when they showed up, but now they do know it. So let's see if we have any questions coming in on the YouTube feed. I'm going Open up. Restream again. Dean is watching from Halsey. How awesome is that? Well,
Couldn't miss it. That's true double booking right there.
I wonder if he's speaking or if he's just listening.
Yeah, well, that'd be interesting.
Well, hello to you, Dean. I hope you have your ear or headphones plugged in so you can hear us, but otherwise, that's very visible. All right. Any questions we can help you with? Yes, sir.
Johan, you look like you're one of the witches from Wicked up there right now. Green going on. Is that intentional?
Give him the microphone. Otherwise, the audience cannot hear it.
Johan, you've got the witches look, like you're in the, Broadway play going on there with the witch hat and the green face going on. Is that getting ready for Halloween?
No, it's the signature move for the conference. Every speaker got their cowboy hat. My second cowboy hat, I like that for the record. But this is the longest time I've been wearing one in my entire life. But no, fun fact, we are on Broadway, the street Broadway. So
It's true. It's a good
the hotel
point.
is.
Yeah.
All right. Any real questions?
Well, have you had any, there's plenty of amazing sessions here this week, of course, but have you had any standouts so far or any new things that you've learned so far these last couple of days?
Well, I did scribble down some notes on my phone from the session Monday morning with Matt Call and Aswari, two from the Microsoft team here. They were sharing some updates on what they were doing on the app management side on Intune. So let's see. Yeah, and enhanced application inventory is coming. So that was exciting to learn. And there is also work in progress to allow us to use that for things like group memberships and filtering and all this stuff we also used to be having a config manager and collections, but we have not been able to use in Intune. So basically based grouping of more and more attributes available. They did not give a timeline or anything like that, but that was they mentioned there. And one word, better, faster, more info around apps. And faster, I'll be happy for.
Yes, definitely.
Because right now applications in Intune is many things. Quick is not necessarily one of them. There is a delay. It is a shared platform. They have, what did I say, a couple of billions of logins?
Yeah, it's
It
a
was
lot.
every day or every week, I don't know, but it was a lot of them. A couple of billions per day? Yeah,
That would make sense.
it's a lot.
Yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, it's like my lab. Yeah.
Of course.
Oh, I have to show this. I got a comment. Someone I know. All right. Any other questions? We're here to help.
Or if anybody would like to share any of their own highlights from the conference. Doesn't have to be a question.
Does not have to be a question.
I joined a KQL and log analytics session with Morris Daly and David Brook earlier. David had a great tip. If you have something that you want to get out of log analytics, simply export the schema of the data that you're looking at, not the data itself, and throw that into ChatGPT. And it should pass back and let it know what you want to get out of that data. And bring that up because he said Copilot, not so good at doing that. But ChatGPT, much better at actually spitting out that KQL for you. So I thought that was a useful tip. I got to try that in practice next week.
Yeah. Well, I was able to download the first 25H2 updates to a config manager earlier today.
Nice.
Because I was looking for them earlier this week and realized they haven't even been released yet. So yesterday or tomorrow morning was obviously Patch Tuesday, so we can actually take a look at those because it's fun. So you still have the screen up, right?
Yep.
If I head over to one of my config manager servers, I downloaded a few updates. With a filter of 25H2, I shouldn't see too many of them. More like 4. So I'm going to pick the one for 64-bit systems. I'm going to take a look at the content properties. So if you go to content information, and this screen is not resizable, but I'll see what I can do in terms of this column here. Well, about 5 plus 2 plus 3, 7, 10 gigs there.
It's not small.
Yeah, it's about keeping the same size as before. I was kind of expecting more, actually.
Yeah.
This is the UUP update for 25H2. We can take a look on the catalog side as well, just because it's fun. Yeah, so that's the thing. Mike. No, run with the mic.
I think it was an enablement update, so there wouldn't be too much extra. It should have already been there.
So yeah, it's an excellent question. There is from 24H2 to 25H2, there is an enablement package. From anything before that, there is not. So if you're on 23H2 and below, or even on a couple of Windows 10 devices left, they will be full in-place upgrade. But the interesting part is it's embedded into that package, that 11 gig package or 10 gig package. It's going to be one of those smaller files, typically just a couple of 100 kilobytes in size. What the client will actually download it is just yet to see, but what I have seen that sometimes the entire package gets downloaded to the client and put in the client cache. So downloading 11 gigs to get 200 out of it, I hope that's not the case, but I honestly don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I was just thinking this afternoon while in a session with Maurice and someone.
As you do.
Yes. So anyhow, quite interesting, I thought. Oh, the catalog site. I was just about to it. So if you search for 25H2, shouldn't really have too many of them. And this one here, that's the Windows 11 one. Now it's keeping about the same size as the before. 4 gig for the regular patch, monthly patch. So that's what we can expect now. It's been for that since May.
GA last month. Why do you need a 4 gig patch from last?
So it just went GA. You'd think like going 1 month after GA, it wouldn't be such a huge stinking patch.
Well, because of 2 things. AI. The more agents, the more applications that Microsoft adds into Windows that has local learning models running, they are not small. They are updated super frequently. So I'm not surprised at all. If I will crank open that package, I will bet you that 90 or the 100 files or so is going to be AI updates. So.
Well, I think this is a good example too of, I've heard you talking about bandwidth effectiveness and usage and everything since the beginning of my IT career. And this just goes to show how much more important I think it's going to become as we have these large packages.
I mean, get your delivery optimization story straight, because these updates are massive. And the trick, as many of you know, is to, if you have a distributed environment,
So Johan, one thing
like this.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was going to comment on the patch too. So like monthly, I also like to patch my boot images, which if you come to my session with Mike tomorrow, you'd understand why. But it's kind of annoying. Like I'm downloading a 4 gig file from the catalog to update WinPE. So it's just like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I agree. It would be nice to have like monthly releases of WinPE even, just ready-made for download. That'd be fantastic because it's like a couple of hundred megs, that original Win. I mean, they even produced or created a update site for Windows 80K. They could have just released them there as easily, but nothing available right now as you stumble across. So,
Is there a phone up here? Sorry to disturb you.
a phone?
Yeah.
I have my
Can I
phone.
wave in the camera?
Yeah.
All right. None of your phones, though? We're just trying to find one. So
Nope.
there's no extra phone, then we're good.
No extra phone.
No extra phone.
Apologies for the interruption.
That was Greg Ramsey, everyone. All right, absolute legend in our little industry. Not so little, in fact. All right, so back to content. DO is important if you have a distributed environment. The trick is to group machines that are well connected to each other and have them peer content to each other. The DO team, some of which are here at this conference, made a change earlier this year where they are now allowing Windows 11 clients to peer much more than they ever had before. Prior to this year, if you have a Windows 10 box or an unconfigured Windows 11 box, quiz, it's worth a roof drink ticket on the whatever floor it is, high up.
25th.
How many files would any given client share? Before. 4. How many files now? And it's a between number. It's 2 numbers. Close. Wow. Sorry, 28 to 36, depending on daily form. Microsoft enables that in their backend, in their services. It's not something that you configure on your clients. They basically have a policy that overrides what the client thinks. So that allows them to share more content. And we have already seen that it's massively improving the peering efficiency. Because obviously before that, you needed like 10, 20 clients to get full coverage. Now, you only need a couple and you have full coverage. But I mean, you can have fun. You can go to any given client that has done something on the network for a while, open up settings, and you can search for delivery. And it will take you to the activity monitor. And you can see what this machine has been doing. See if I can get Zoom it going. Since October 1st. That's a lot. And I don't think it even downloaded the patches from today yet. These are updates to built-in component in Windows. You see most of it coming from a cache server. The main reason I got a chunk from Microsoft is because I turned off my cache servers at some point and forgot to turn them back on again. So I have 2 VMs running as cache servers in my lab. So
It's a pretty good percentage from your cache server, though.
yeah, but usually if you have a cache server configured, you will see like 90-some% content come from it. It's very rare that it's starting to do a lot of peering. It will download from the cache server. So if you haven't seen those, super simple to set up. You configure them from Azure. It runs in a container on top of either Windows 11, Windows Server, or Linux. So you go to the Azure website, you sign up for the connected cache, or what's the full name? Enterprise Education something. Yeah, this one here. You search for that in the marketplace. You sign up for the service. It's free. And then you create your nodes. You download the installer package. You install it, you walk away, and within 10 minutes, you have a cache.
How nice is that we can do that standalone now?
Standalone, yes. Do not require config manager. And this is the one that gets updated most frequently. The connected cache server that comes with config manager rarely gets updated. This one will have more features. I bet this is the one that eventually will support HTTPS. They are testing out that internally. I learned this week at Microsoft at the moment. And it's scheduled to be released later this year for everybody else. So everybody who has noticed, like Niels mentioned in his session earlier today, that Teams will update itself 3, 4, 5, up to 7, was it, at most, times per week. That content cannot be peered currently, but if it will, it'll be good. So if you had a customer that downloaded 30 terabytes over 2 days, yes, Teams updates. Our network team was like, what are you doing? I don't know.
Nothing.
Nothing. So if you haven't played around with this, it's fun stuff, configuring. The trick is to have the client find the right one, because imagine that your network looks like this, but instead of 3 sites, you have 3,000 sites, or 300. How would you do this with Intune? Making sure that the right group of clients is using the right cache server. Because I'm pretty confident that I would like these clients here to use that cache server, whereas I want clients over here to quite likely use that cache server. And you have 300 sites. Option 1, create 300 policies and try to group your Intune clients after network information, which Intune does not have by default. You have to extend inventory, and then, or assign an extended attribute with the site location, and then you can use that as a filter. Or you use the ESP scope options, because you can do that. So you talk to your network folks and basically have them to add scope option 234 to tell the client on each VLAN which cache server to use. Or you walk over to where Niehaus works, 2Pine Software, Gary as well for that matter. They have an agent that figures out what cache server to use, because that agent recognizes what type of network you're on, so it can switch. For example, it can detect that you flip over to VPN and then ditch the cache server, stuff like that. So, yeah, it's getting more and more important, and I'm being told it's getting worse. So, expecting more downloads over time. All right, let's see if we have any questions online. They sometimes show up. I think we threw a few people off by running it on a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday.
And at 5 instead of 4:30.
Even so. Let's see. We have a couple. I got a couple of hellos. All right, let's see. Basically, there was a question on, are we having any idea how to buy the extended servicing update for Windows 10 license? It's not available in the admin center. I haven't the foggiest. Steve, do you know?
Contact your Microsoft account rep.
Contact your Microsoft account rep. What if you don't have one?
I'll let you know.
I don't really know where to get them. I know how to install them because you get a product key and you install that product key.
I think there is something that popped up online for non-enterprise. I think there is something that popped up online for non-enterprise customers, so the smaller state, local government, or EDUs. Don't know the pricing, but I thought I saw something that popped up automatically, and you will more than likely get NAGware on it.
All right, let's see if we can find something online then.
And then I mean, if you do have a licensing rep, let them know how many you need. And
so I do know, I'm recently retired Microsoft. I do know that if you're using expired OSs, let's just call it that, to access Azure virtual desktops or Windows virtual desktops, you're covered. It's a really cool byproduct where they give you a little bit of latitude because you might need to retire some devices. You need another year before your hardware refresh cycles kick in. You're going to have to get a year or two. But if you're using that Win 10 device to get to a Win 11 device that's in the cloud, you're covered. Again, get a hold of your Microsoft rep. You may have to dig around, but that's a really, really cool benefit in my estimation on how to extend another year or two so that you don't have to disrupt and do a big purchase and really mess things up.
Thank you, sir. This came up in a quick Google search. Either if you're in consumer, you can buy it directly from the settings application in Windows, or by contacting a cloud solution provider to sell it to you. But I mean, yeah, CDW, SHI, others, probably a good choice.
yeah, and if you do end up purchasing through them, whether you're EA or EES, they just show up in your volume licensing portal.
All right, awesome.
I actually saw all 3 years of them already.
Oh, nice.
Don't know how, but they're there.
Well, as an education, you get them cheaper than others.
That is true.
I like the option in the middle that says you can get the ESU for free by enabling and backing up your settings to OneDrive.
Oh yeah.
If I just enable
The free
a
option.
backup of my settings to OneDrive, I get Windows 10 for free. I can
That
do
one
that.
was interesting. Good catch.
I think that's easy. It's like enable backup of settings. You're good to go. You don't need to pay.
Question is this true, or is it a Google AI summary?
There is a link for that. So I mean, in theory, click the link.
It's
That's right.
it's on the internet.
It's
Must
AI.
be true.
Everything AI is true. We know that for sure.
I think it's at least plausible. I did see something about as long as you have a Microsoft account.
There were some restrictions. You had to use certain things, but the restrictions were less in the EU.
Okay.
As a follow-up comment was there were some restrictions, but the restrictions were less in the EU. All right, awesome. Well,
Pretty easy to get the next few years for consumers.
all right. So the comment here is this easier for consumers to get the key, or quite easy. All right, awesome. All right, do we have anything else? Mr. Matt is asking, excluding download time, are there any IPU differences in speed between a config manager sequence driving the upgrade and driving the upgrade through a feature policy in Intune? Typically, Intune in-place upgrades are much slower because the content is still coming down with, well, it said excluding download time, in fact. So shouldn't matter too much, but usually if you have a sequence, you do a little bit more. You inject drivers and whatnot into the process. But if you do the same thing from Intune, I expect it to take about the same time. Because once the content is there, it's still setup running. It's just the difference is sequence starting setup with switches or Intune starting setup with switches. From that point, the sequence really doesn't do much. It's Windows setup all along for like half an hour at best, up to an hour and a half. If you're interested in learning what's going on behind the scenes, because I think stuff like that is interesting. If I go to a machine here, all the different phases are logged in the log file. So this is a tiny little log file, about 500,000 lines of logs. But you can see in great detail exactly what's going on in each of the 13 phases that setup is, exactly what it's doing, how long time it took to do that part, how much disk space that was used for that part. So if you're interested in seeing what's going on behind the scenes, and also start to comparing a slow upgrade with a quick upgrade, you can very quickly see, okay, which step is it that takes much longer time. I mean, we do have a lot of, there's a lot of things that you guys can do as an enterprise to make things just a little bit better. We covered some of that in sessions this week, but let's see. I go to the right machine.
What, do you have more than one?
I have more than one. Class notes, I will do. These are things you can do to reduce the number of failures that you have. And there are things you can do to speed up the process. So the most interesting ones is making sure you have an updated media always. Make sure to put large apps or drivers in WIM files because they download more quickly as a single file compared to 1,000 small files. Get rid of junk on the disk. Clean out temp folders, clean out config manager caches, especially for software updates. They don't need to be there. The likelihood that you're going to need a software patch from the old version of Windows you're going from with the new version is slim. So you can get rid of that. And we do recommend to basically split up download and pre-cache or validation and caching in a separate process compared to the upgrade. And of course, make sure to test everything that you have. Put that time in, and life will be better. So those are just relatively easy to implement tips. This one in particular, you need a friend for. That friend is named Gary. He's in the room. He has been for a good while up on garytown.com, keeping a pretty decent sequence collection available for download. Latest updated for 11.23H2, still works beautifully on later versions of Windows, but as you can see, it's been downloaded a couple of times. But if you take that collection and you import that into Config Manager, I do not need to go to you, but I want to go to this one. If I go to my sequences here, I have a Garytown collection. This is what you get. Even if you don't use Config Manager, you can still borrow inspiration from these things. For example, if you want to have inspiration on how to do cleanup, well, here is a sequence that does cleanup. And you can take these actions and run in whatever solution you like. It doesn't have to be Config Manager. Most of these are just PowerShell scripts. Sometimes they're just command liners, one-liners, like the one that deletes the older files in the temp folder. Super simple. Or you can put that in a bigger script and add some logging and stuff to it. There was a time where the Config Manager client would not install, would not upgrade, if there were more than 75,000 files in the temp folder. It could not compile the MOF files. That was the case. Stumbled across one file of one machine that had 1.3 million files in its temp folder. It was in the APAC region. I didn't dare to log into that machine even. We removed it remotely. So a lot of inspiration to be found. Thank you so much, Gary. Appreciate that. We also have up on our little GitHub repository, we have a cleanup script we've been quite happy with. It's in the CongiMgr folder. I will zoom in just a second. It's cleverly named, cleanup before upgrade. But it basically has a couple of sections that you can just flip on or off where you want them to run or not. And this will get rid of junk before you do an upgrade. Mostly we did this from 10 to 11, but it's equally valid from 11 to 11. Every time you need to do a full in-place upgrade. So, for example, the disk cleanup one, that was actually the one that took us the longest. Because that one is using the built-in utility in Windows that you can automate. Problem with that one is it was not never fully intended to be run unattended, even though you can. So in some scenarios, you actually have to kill the process after a while. Just make it stop. But we put logic for that into the script. But yeah, fun stuff. Just a moment, sir.
I was saying that just because the native disk cleanup needs to have stuff put into the registry in order to run it silent or unattended doesn't mean it wasn't made for that, right? It doesn't feel hacky at all.
Well, that's how they implemented the change. And I think it's interesting when we start to look into what we wanted to delete from the beginning and what we stopped deleting. So this line here, we no longer delete. This line here, we no longer delete, or these components. Why? Because folks are using that as their documents folder. They have stuff in their downloads folder they work with. They have stuff in their recycle bin as an archive. So if you nuke their recycle bin, they get mad. Now, the upgrade may do changes to this as well, but at least we were not responsible for deleting that report or whatever it was. But fun stuff always. All right. Follow-up question from Matt there. What is an expected time frame? It's still, from what I've seen, within the half an hour to an hour and a half, depending on how much junk we have on the device. The biggest factor is the number of profiles, because the upgrade engine has to basically evaluate and enumerate all the profiles. And if you have shared devices, like healthcare, you have nurses sharing, like 40 of them sharing the same computers. You have 45 profiles on the box, of which 13 are obsolete, 2 are broken. The upgrade is going to take a while. The weirdest upgrade time I've ever seen was early in the Windows 10 era. It took more than 5 hours to upgrade the box because I had an SD card in it. And at some point, I apparently have not done a safe eject, or whatever the command is in the control panel or in the taskbar. So it has flagged it as dirty. It didn't understand the file system. So it was trying to figure out what that SD card was. And the log file just grow and grow and grow and grow. So sidebar, but fun. All right. Diego is asking, have you deployed RSAT tools from Windows 11 from CongiMgr? In a way, there is always a way. I blogged about that a little while ago.
Close.
So this is how you install RSAT tool offline. So of course, this is just the command line that runs. So you can put that content in a config manager package or a config manager application and run the command line against it. So it's just a little script. I'm not going to win any scripting award for this one, but one-liners to install the RSAT tools. So you just need to specify the folder. And obviously, you will just specify the current folder if you run it from config manager, because that will be the path where the package is. So that will work. The interesting part is you need to download a neat little ISO, 6-7 gig ISO, to get the RSAT tools, because it's included with all the language packs and other stuff. And the trick is to know their names. Get all, yes. That works. All right, awesome question though. All right. Let's see if we have anything else. Making sure I don't miss anyone. Where is Andrew?
I'm right here. Not too far away.
Yeah. No, just a follow-up comments on earlier stuff. Any questions from the room? We still have as long as time as you want, basically, but the bunny is running.
I've seen running. All right, so Johan, you're an older guy like I am, and Michael here, and we've been deploying OSs since, at least for me, Windows 98, Windows 2000, a long time. Who would have thought we'd be here in 2025 going, what do we do when SCCM goes away, right? Who would have thought SCCM was off the radar? So when you think about careers, you think about skill sets, you think about PowerShell, you think about all these, investments that you make in time. Where do you target your world for 5 years from now, 3 years from now, right? What are the things? Remember when it was VB script? Learn VB script. It's awesome, right? And then I need to learn PowerShell. What are the things? Put on your crystal ball. What are the things I need to learn to be relevant and make money 3 years, 5 years, 10 years from now? I'm on the tail end, right? I'm loving life. I left Microsoft. I did 25 years. But what's next, right? With the change, it's pretty seismic. Who thought SCCM was going away at an 85% enterprise deployment rate? Ramble off.
That was a pretty awesome question. I mean, I've been doing consulting for 30 plus years, like you, Steve, or close to it. But organizations, they change slowly in general. The foundation that we have today is still going to be a foundation for a long time to come. Microsoft is obviously investing heavily in cloud services, in AI. So, of course, new IT pros, they need to learn that. And I mean, we see that on our training academy. We have now 4 or 5 times the number of students learning Intune components, cloud components, automation, PowerShell and whatnot, than we have that is learning on-premises technologies. But we still have folks that are learning those technologies. And I think if you start in IT today, you still have to know that stuff. Absolutely. That makes sense.
It does. But, I mean, you have to think about it, right? You have to plan.
Absolutely, but I think you have to plan for it, right? You got to put it on your radar. You got to put cycles in to go, I have to go learn this thing. I have to go learn about LLMs. I've got to go learn about chat versus Copilot versus, whatever. And where do I best spend those cycles to make money, right? To extend my career, right? So that I don't hit a dead end. I see a few heads shaking because, I was like, PowerShell. Right? When it first came out, PowerShell. But it's the bomb, right? It rocks. But what's the next bomb? What's the next thing that you future-proof so you go, I can go get the next cool gig versus the normal gig of maintaining SCCM. And SCCM was awesome, right? Paid for my kid's school, paid for my house. But how do you future-proof? How do you get the career ready for what's next? Right? And you have to think about that.
If you're intending to work with Microsoft infrastructure, I strongly believe learning Entra inside out, learning Azure, at least the foundational pieces, learn about Intune, learn about security, learn about automation, because that's how we scale. But don't forget the roots. Don't forget what brought the companies here. I was chatting with a bunch of Microsoft folks earlier today during lunch, and then they were asking me, all right, we're planning on do all of this in the future. I was like, yeah, that's cool. I really appreciate all you do in the AI and cloud first era, but do not forget what brought you here. Yeah. It's like 30, 40 years of foundation. You cannot throw it away, and organizations won't either. I bet you in 2035 or even 2045, some organizations out there, they will still be doing some sort of imaging. They will still have some sort of on-premises platform they still maintain to this day. But we, as engineers, we are constantly asked to do more with less resources. Automation is one piece to that. AI tools is another piece to that. I have cut down script development in probably 2/3 these days compared to even 2 years ago, because I use a lot of different AI tools, Copilot, ChatGPT, Claude Code, and it does reduce the time. The code it produces is rarely right, but it's often 70 to 80% right. And sometimes it gives me inspirations like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Exactly, I have a script that did that, and I can just borrow it. Yes, sir.
Is Microsoft thinking to add an AI agent to Config Manager like it has in like Office products and other products?
So if Microsoft's adding AI agents, I think I saw something that was like their next thing. Oh, to Intune, yes, not the Config Manager, no. No, sir. That team today is just a fraction of what it used to be. They don't get as many development resources as they had in the past. The team is back in Redmond, so that is good, but they don't have much development resources. Whereas, say that you have 1,000 people working on systems management, just a number, you can bet that like 950 of those, if not more, is working on cloud services and Intune and other related stuff. So I do not expect that.
Don't you think that if Microsoft wants to keep Config Manager around, then they have to integrate, because everything is now AI.
I cannot see right
Unless
now
they're gonna
how
kill
it will
Config
be adding AI into Config Manager without a lot of developers available to the project. Might happen, but I personally don't think it. Well, I think they're on a maintenance level. Like if you look at 2503, the release, not a single new feature. 350 bug fixes, yes, but no new features. And I know there are other bugs that need to be fixed, so they're coming out in 2509, which I expect pretty much any week now. But I haven't heard a word about the new feature in 2509, other than full support for Windows 11 25H2. But There might be.
Thinking about future, I think the golden gem is to figure out how you can do security without wasting money. Because the biggest problem we can see today is that you enable every security feature. You buy the most expensive firewall and you enable everything and you make it impossible to work and you waste everything you have on security and you still get hit by ransomware. At the same time, somebody else does 5 minutes of work and that protects the company to figuring out how little you need to do to still protect the company and organization. That's going to be key for any IT admin. If you can figure out exactly what to do to protect the company from disappearing from the planet Earth, because that's what's happening today, then you are in a position where you can go like, hey, I know this. I can sell my knowledge, because that is a real challenge. Somebody says, well, I need to put a certificate in the boot image. Yeah, but you still have the password of 1234. So I don't think the certificate is going to be the real issue. It's going to be the password of 1234 or the 65,000 users nobody disabled because they're not in use. I think that's going to be the key for the future, figuring out that one and using AI in a reasonable, smart way. Like you said, I use it for inspiration. I figure out how to minimize time. So I know that, for instance, our forensic team, they are using AI to analyze log files. They don't trust them, but it minimizes the time they need to spend on each collection of log files. So instead of doing like 10 hours research, they need to spend an hour of research because they can filter out all the garbage. So figuring out how, and I like the word co-pilot, because that means it's somebody that helps you, but trusting AI, that's stupidity. That doesn't work for the next decade or ever, because that's just going to be Skynet. So figuring out how to use AI in a smart way and figuring out security without wasting money. If you can do that, yes, we're going to have config manager OSD. Yes, we're going to have on-prem environments. I have many customers that are moving away from the cloud. They just give up and say, hey, we're not going to do the cloud anymore because we need a factory that works, even if somebody cut the wire. We can't trust that. We can't run whatever. So they put things on-prem. They reinstall config manager. They're using operations manager, and Microsoft go like, no, you should move to the cloud. Are you insane? We have a manufacturing plant over here. I can't trust an internet wire, because if somebody cuts the wire, we don't have production.
I mean, you actually had a discussion on that today, how to, in the future, support organizations that does have that type of networks that do by nature not having internet access and probably shouldn't have internet access ever. I mean, they exist and they will exist forever.
If you just take a look on what's happening with Azure Local, for instance. Azure Local now has in the European Union something called sovereign private clouds. It means that, hey, you can run Azure Local disconnected from the internet. You can run Microsoft 365 Local disconnected from the internet.
It's pretty cool.
They are talking about doing private clouds on-prem using Azure technology, because companies and organizations want to be disconnected. Don't focus on the cloud. Cloud is nice. It's a nice to have. But if you're a manufacturing plant or you're a nuclear power plant, trusting the cloud, no, it doesn't work.
No, thank you, sir. I have to share this one. I showed up in the. All right. I mean, what we already see showing up is more dedicated, not necessarily for config management, but agents that does a certain workload. we have showcased a couple of times here that on our academy, we currently run our most successful community course to date, and that is the PS80T training we do together with that development team. So it's a 5-week course, free for anyone to attend. So obviously covering the basics of PS80T here, but there are now showing up, I forgot her name who wrote it, but it was a PS80T coach. See if I can find it. It was posted on LinkedIn, I think. Here. A specialized ChatGPT that knows that product very well. So everything you ask it for is about that product. And you can bet there'll be more stuff like this. Ugur Cook, he wrote an AI agent that is remarkably good in parsing log files for the IME service, the sidecar agent, the workload for application troubleshooting, the app workload log. Because that one is intense to read, especially if you have it verbose. But he wrote an agent where you can ask, like we are speaking here, hey, find the issue with this application, thank you. And it does it. So I expect much more of this. And I mean, I've been following AI development as good as I could, but it's like hundreds of apps showing up every other week. There is not a chance to keep track of them all. But expect this to happen. That's my point. All right. Comment here around government cloud, still using Intune because updates are not working for them. Don't quite follow that question. I might need some more context. Or it could be that certain features are not yet available in GCC High that they're referring to.
Oh, there it is. Still using Intune. I'm not sure.
I think I need more context for that one. Using CongiMgr was the follow-up. Well, CongiMgr is a really good platform for patching. It is. It's not easy, but it's a good one. Quite complicated to do patches through Config Manager. It's a good one. Maybe it was just a comment.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Any questions from the room? All right. I don't see any more. I don't hear any more. So with that in mind, thank you so much for joining us. And all of you out there that we don't see here in this room, thank you for joining us as well. And we hope to see you again back on normal time next Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. Have a great night, everyone, and thank you for coming.
Thanks, everybody.